All right, today we're going to start talking about our big idea for this unit, which is actually called Pythagorean theorem. And Pythagorean theorem helps us find missing side lengths and right triangles. So this is only used on right triangles. And then our formula, the Pythagorean theorem itself, is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So go ahead and pause and write down this definition and the formula, and then you can move on. So today we're going to focus on finding the hypotenuse. So in your right triangle, you have three sides. These two sides that are shorter, we call the legs. The hypotenuse is the longest side. And it's always across from your 90-degree angle, which in right triangles, they put the right angle symbol, which is this little square in the corner. So this is your hypotenuse, and it's always labeled C. Now this triangle could be turned all sorts of different ways, so make sure that it's always across from your right angle, because it could also be something like this, where it's down here. All right, so make sure you get this picture down. Okay, so now we're just going to go into some examples. When you do this, you need to show your work. Okay, there is no, you just know the answer. You have to show your work. So you have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. That's your formula. This is always going to be your first line. Okay, your hypotenuse is what we're focusing on finding today. And your hypotenuse is always, always c. So across from here, this is c. 4 and 3 go in for A and B. It does not matter which one is A and which one is B, because since it's addition, these could be flipped. All right, so your legs, these two, are A and B, and then we don't know our hypotenuse, so that's where our variable is going to go. All right, from here, this is why we were talking about square roots and cube roots before break. We have to square things and square root things. So here, 4 squared, or 4 times 4 is 16. 3 squared, or 3 times 3 is 9, equals x squared. Then 16 plus 9 is 25. And the last thing I need to do is get rid of this squared. To do that, I have to do the opposite and square root. Okay, and you do it to both sides. That's going to get rid of this square. So now on the right, we only have an x. Okay, don't keep writing your exponent. The square root of 25 is 5. Okay, so 5 equals x. This missing side is 5. All right. The last thing we want to do is identify whether our answer is rational or irrational. Since 5 is a whole number, it is rational. Okay, and when you're talking about square roots, if it's not a whole number, it's going to be one of those long decimals. So if it's not a perfect square, like 25, then it's irrational. If it is a perfect square, then it's rational. And remember, the first 10 perfect squares are on the cabinets in our classroom. All right, let's do another. So you have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. That's how you start. Your hypotenuse is across from your 90-degree angle. That's the one we're focusing on finding today. I'm going to plug in 12 and 15 for A and B. Or not 15, 12 and 5 for A and B. And again, this order does not matter, as long as this is C. Okay, this has to be C. 12 squared is 144. 5 squared is 25. So then you have 169 equals x squared. So then I'm going to square root both sides. So x is 13. This side length is 13. 13 is rational. Okay, we want you to identify if it's rational or irrational at the end, just so we can keep practicing what that means. Also, if you notice, This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps. And so questions like this on a quiz or a test are 6 points, all right? If all you have is this, you get 1 of 6 points. Okay, I'm just telling you now, right when we start, you need to show your work on these. Okay, you need to step through the process. All right, another example. So we're going to start with our formula. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So then you have 7 squared plus 8 squared equals x squared, because we're focusing on finding x today, or your hypotenuse. Okay, this order again doesn't matter. A and b can be switched. So 7 squared is 49. 8 squared is 64. Okay, 49 plus 64 is 113. From here, I don't know the square root of 13 off the top of my head. We are going to square root. So I'm going to use my calculator. So second, and then this button next to your 7, 113. And if it gives it right back to you, you have to click your toggle button for your decimal, okay, which is right above enter. So I'm going to go ahead and round to the nearest tenth. Let's do 10.6. This stays the same. Is approximately x. Okay, I changed to the wave equal sign since we rounded. We read that as approximately. And since it's a long decimal, this doesn't actually stop. It's long. It is irrational. Okay, this side length is 10.6. And another quick way to check to make sure you're doing these right, what you get for x, what you get for this hypotenuse should always be bigger than your other two. If it's not bigger, then you made a mistake. Okay, let's do one more. So I'm going to start with my formula. I am looking for my hypotenuse, which is c. So that's always on this side. 10 and 5, I'll plug in for a and b. You can switch these, you just can't switch this one. So then you have 100 plus 25 equals x squared, which is 125. And then you're going to square root. Okay, again, I don't know this one off the top of my head, so I'm going to type it in. Square root of 125. And then it's going to give you this weird thing again. So you hit your toggle button. So this would round to 11.2. That's going to round up. Okay, it was a very long decimal. It did not actually stop. This is irrational. All right. Your assignment for today is a worksheet. So raise your hand and show me your notes, and I will get that to you.